What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Yellow again. I'm back here with another topic video. This month is AAPI Heritage Month, which is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I kind of want to go into this topic because I am an Asian American myself. I'm Vietnamese American. Born and raised here in the United States, specifically San Diego, California. You know, my parents were refugees from Vietnam. They came here post-Vietnam War. You know, they made their way here to escape, you know, just like many immigrant parents. They come here for a better life and to give their kids a better life also. But today's topic kind of is a little more specific. I wanted to talk about how my parents took it when I told them I wanted to become a filmmaker. Now, a lot of you guys might know or might not know, but you know, the stereotype of Asian Americans is that, you know, we're the quiet type. We kind of stay in our own areas. We work in fields that are, you know, positioned for what your stereotype Asian would be, such as, you know, working in the medical field, in law, or in some type of, you know, non-creative, non-entertainment type of fields. Now for me, you know, my parents always told me that, you know, they want me to go for that job that makes a lot of money. Basically, the guaranteed jobs to them is being a doctor, working in medical somehow, lawyer, or something in that category of high success in America to them. You know, when our immigrant parents come here, their mindset is being taught to see Americans do to make a lot of money and be successful, and those are the options that they want us to go. They want us to continue to go to school and drive us to do that. There's a lot of Asian Americans that have parents who are real strict and they want them to do what they want, not what you want. And that's always been a big issue within our community. So growing up, my parents, of course, they want me to do that type of stuff because, you know, that's what's gonna make the money and whatnot. But the thing with me was, like, I never really thought about it, but I never cared for that either. It's not the fields that I want to. Like working in medical, I don't even like touching other people's blood. So, you know, that was already an axe. Being a lawyer, you know, I can barely defend myself sometimes, so that's not something I really wanted to do, is study law and stuff like that. Not saying it's not interesting, but it's just not for me. You get what I'm saying? Growing up, you know, my dad always wanted to be an engineer, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna be an engineer, you know what I mean? Let me do it just because that's something that he wanted to do also. And so I just kind of had my mindset to like be an engineer, but you know, I knew nothing about engineering. And then when I got to an age where when I was telling people I want to be an engineer, they was just like, what kind of engineer you want to be? And I was like, there's more than one kind. I thought an engineer is just an engineer. They just engineer things. And I didn't even know the concept of being an engineer. Into my teenage years, I started to understand there's, you know, electrical engineer, civil engineer. There's all types of engineering. And then once I got into it, I started to see like there was a lot of math involved. And not saying I was bad at math. I was actually, you know, I mean, yeah, the stereotype of an Asian American that America perceives us as is being good at math. So I was good at math to an extent. Once I got to pre-calculus in high school, that was it. I couldn't do it. I was struggling in trigonometry, and I struggled just to pass that class. So once I got to the next level where pre-calculus and statistics and all that, I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, if this is what engineering is, I can't do this for the rest of my life, and it's not gonna make me happy. And then I really sat down my junior year and really decided like, what's gonna make me happy? Because I don't know what makes me happy. But you know, at the time I was playing around with video editing. I was downloading hack software through LimeWire, you know, at the time when, you know, that was the way to get your software too. Or downloading torrents in the early stages, which you shouldn't do, but you know, when you don't have money, that's really the only choice I had. And I didn't know what software was good software. I just searched video editing software, and I downloaded Sony Vegas, and this was Sony Vegas 7. Back then, YouTube didn't exist, so there was no YouTube, no tutorials. Like, the only thing close to teach you anything was Creative Cow, and I mentioned this in a prior video about Creative Cow, which was like a forum for, I guess you can say, people behind the camera and stuff like that, but it's just like a lot of like much older people that are just kind of going back and forth on techniques and stuff like that. But it's kind of hard to not be able to see what they're saying when they're trying to explain to you how to do things in the software. So I learned how to edit with Sony Vegas on my own, just playing around, messing around, and I got pretty moderate and good at it to where like I enjoyed it. But you know, as a kid, I always enjoyed watching television and watching film and watching movies. I didn't grow up in a very nice neighborhood, so my mom always kept me in the house. My dad, he was always out of town for weeks at a time for work, so I never really got to spend time with my dad growing up that as much as, you know, you would want to. And then my mom, you know, she's working and trying to pay the bills and put food on her plate. And so she was always busy too, but she would never let me play outside because we didn't live in such a great neighborhood all the time. So I always stayed in the house and watched movies and TV a lot. And I always loved, you know, cartoons and stuff like that too. To the point where, you know, I love to draw. I started drawing and stuff like that. But then that's where it kind of led to me becoming a filmmaker. Like, I wanted to be a cartoonist, and then I watched a documentary about how The Simpsons was made. It took 6 months and how much it took, where they were getting things drawn in Japan and getting shipped back and forth. And that process looked like it was such a long process that I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. This is too much work. But that led into filmmaking. So my parents, like, they hated that I always sat down on the TV, was glued to the TV all the time watching movies and TV, but not realizing that, like, that's what grew my love into doing film. When it came to my junior year, I really sat there and I was just like, what do I want to do that's gonna make me happy, and I can really strive for this and still be happy 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line. This was a very big decision to think about. Not everyone's built the same, or not everyone has the same mentality. So sometimes, you know, people won't figure out what they want to do till later in life, or even much later in life. Some people might know what they wanted to do at 5 years old and they still love what they do today at a very grown age. But I think for me, like, it took me to that moment for me to realize that I enjoyed being behind the camera, and I enjoyed, like, whatever this Sony Vegas thing was making me do. I enjoyed this final product of what I was, you know, playing around with like video clips and stuff like that. And then so it got to the point where I had to pull my parents aside and tell them, like, hey, so, you know, I haven't been doing good in these math classes and stuff like that. And I know this is supposed to be for engineering, but I don't think I can do this, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. So they looked at me like, shit. So what do you like? They kind of knew I was a black sheep already, because I wasn't like all my other cousins and stuff like that. I was, you know, I was a little bit out the box compared to them. So they wanted to know what made me enjoy what I can do as a career. And of course, they're hoping something big too. And I straight up told them, like, I want to work in the film and video industry. I want to be behind the camera. I want to direct, and I want to, you know, do stuff like that. And then they told me, like, you know, of course, it's like any parents, like, is it an easy career to get into? Are you gonna make a lot of money? Will you be able to survive in it? Like, you got to go to school for this, right? You know, like, it's just the big worry. And my parents, especially my mom, she worried about me because I was known to be too nice, and she was scared of me going into an industry that no one in the family has any experience in, or any connections in, or anything of that sort, for me to be in it. So I told him, you know what, this is what I really want to do. I'll figure it out. It's gonna be something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And if worst comes to worst, I'll come up with a backup. But this is what I really want to do. To be honest with you, I thought they was gonna be really mad, but they actually were decently open to it. They were skeptical because they don't know nothing about it. But then again, I told them, like, you guys don't know about medical either, or being a lawyer or working in law. So what's the difference of me going into filmmaking? Because you guys don't have a background in any of those things. So at least it's making me enjoy what I'm doing right now. And a few years down the line, if I start to not enjoy this, then, you know, like, I'll be grown enough to know where to transition to. 15 years later, I'm still here doing this. I mean, we're doing different things and stuff like that, but, you know, I'm still in this industry. I'm still sitting behind the camera. Right now I'm in front of the camera, but I'm still doing a lot of things that I try to speak into existence. With me, I was fortunate enough that my parents were pretty supportive of me going into this career. They were worried, but they were supportive. So they tried their best to go find if they had any type of connects and stuff like that might be able to help me. But I told them, no, I don't need that. I'd rather go grind and figure this out on my own. So I decided to just make the jump. In my senior year, I was just taking whatever mini classes in filmmaking or media or digital media that I could, and went to school, went to a public university and went to a private film school to learn everything that I needed to learn. I'm sure there's a lot of other Asian American kids out there wondering like what you should do. I know there's a lot of young ones out there too. You might be a second generation kid or a third generation. Your parents were probably born here, but you know, there's possibly some of you kids out there where some of you guys might have parents that came over here from the motherland and still have that traditional Asian parent mentality. Some are stricter than others, and I can't compare everyone or lead everyone the same. I think the thing with my parents is they kind of understood at a young age that I was a little bit different. I wasn't the best kid in class, but I was a kid that strived to at least accomplish what I can in school and get my grades up. I wasn't a delinquent kid. I was a kid that had bad behavior sometimes in class, or I was kind of disruptive, but you know, I graduated with a 3.48 GPA. I was barely out from graduating with honors, so I wasn't a dumb kid. I was just good at just getting the job done, if you want to put it that way. I was good at just getting the work done, getting it done the way that everyone wants to, where I can at least excel a little bit, but I just didn't enjoy what I was learning in school. Like, the only thing I probably even liked in school was just history in general, because I was good at memorizing stuff sometimes. But you know, right now, being older, I'm terrible at memorizing anything. Back to other Asian American kids out there that are thinking about making the leap to doing something that you love that your parents don't love. I know we all want to try to make our parents happy, right? Which is what every Asian parent wants, but not everyone's opinion, but my personal opinion, which is also, I hear this from other Asian American kids also, that a lot of times our parents, they only want us to do those jobs because that's kind of like their trophy to their friends. You know what I mean? Like, my son went to Harvard and he studied law. That's their trophy to show off to your friends. But to me, what I had to tell my parents, and I try to tell other people too, is like, am I just a trophy to you, or am I a child that you love? Because if you truly cared about me as a parent, you would care about me doing something that I love and enjoy. Because the thing is, if we all were able to do what we enjoy and love, we will be successful into what we're trying to follow. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how I would be successful in medical if they pushed me to do that, and I never liked it. Like, I'd probably be a low grade, not as good medical person, because that's not where my passion is. But like, my passion here is filmmaking and creating dope ass visuals. So doing this makes me happy. You get what I'm saying? So I would put my 100,000,000% into this and get me going to do what I want to do. So for you guys out there, I know it's hard because, you know, when you grew up with strict Asian parents, like, you get scared to confront them and do things against the grain. But I think with me, I grew up not around other Asian American kids, so I think like giving a different mentality helped me have the courage to just straight up tell them like, look, I can't do this. Like, you can keep forcing me to do this, but I'm not going to be happy at it. That's like me forcing you to do what you don't want to do. You get what I'm saying? So I always suggest is, like, it's better to make the leap than waste 10 years going to school and just not enjoy yourself and just not enjoy life. If they're trying to push you as a doctor, I'd rather have a doctor that loves what they do to check on me rather than someone that went to school for 10 years and barely made it by to be in medical just because that's what their parents want, and they do a half-assed job trying to take care of me as a patient. So I'd rather that person, and we don't need none of that. We need more people in other fields. I know there's a lot of young Asian kids out there that are scared to make the leap of faith, and I try to be a person myself and many other Asian Americans out there to be able to jump into these fields and try to put ourselves out there, not to be famous, not to be whatever, you know, to put us out there that other kids that look like me can look out there and be like, they were able to do this, so I should be able to do it too. I'm just here to say is, follow what you want and do what you love to do. Don't waste your time doing something you don't want to do, because you're going to regret all the years that you could have started early, and you'll be able to not steamroll to what you want to do right away, because we only have one life to live. So be great and do what you want to do. As far as I know, my parents are happy that I'm still staying afloat as a filmmaker, but you know, I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay. I'm not a rich multi-millionaire director, or I'm not making buku money, but I've been doing a lot of things and striving to get to where I want to go. I still got a lot more things I need to do to make myself even happier in this field, but like I said, if you love what you do, that fire is still gonna stay in you until you fulfill what you're wanting to do or hit those goals or those strides. Last thing is, at the end of the day, if you don't go in the medical field or the law field and your Asian parents are not happy about that, go do what you love to do, make hella money, throw a stack or you throw 5 stacks at them and be like, here, that will shut them the f up, because at the end of the day, they want you to have hella money. So be successful in what you want to do and make hella money what you're doing and love what you want to do, because when you love what you want to do, it's not even gonna be work and people will come to you for what you want to do. And you make all that money that you make off of what you do and you start giving your parents some of that money just to be like, hey, here you go. They ain't gonna say nothing else. So live your life and enjoy what you want to do. Your parents will be happy regardless. They just choose to want you in those other fields, but at the end of the day, you don't need to do all that. So just do it. Feel me? But that's the end of this video. So if you like this video, hit like, subscribe, comment, all that, and also hit that notification button up to the top. Let people know about my page. I'm technically not as new, but my face is still new on this channel, so make sure you keep watching my videos, let everybody know, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.